they're not even aware of what's out there. They're just so immersed, so disconnected from the reality that they live in.
We know some of y'all sit on your phone during liturgy.
Oh, it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
That's so bad.
You really see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're like so blinded with what, like, where you are.
You don't have a life.
That's it. Your life is gone.
Welcome back to Teen Talk. My name is Ravina, and we're honored to be joined with Father Daniel, the priest at St. Barbara Coptic Orthodox Church. We are also joined with Mina, Philo, and Samuel.
Thank you so much for being with us, Abuna. I think to start off, I'd want to ask, how did you come up with this like short slogan, connect to disconnect, or disconnect to connect?
So if you guys know, a lot of us are connected to what?
Social media.
Social media, and we're connected through what? Through this.
Our phones.
So we are connected all the time to the phones and social media and the other things we do on the phones, like YouTube, videos, other things, to the point that we lose perspective of what's around us. You know, it's very common that you find like 4 youth sitting next to each other, and each one of them is so immersed in the phone, and it's like 70-degree weather outside, beautiful weather, the birds are chirping. They're not even aware of what's out there. They're just so immersed, so disconnected from the reality that they live in. So, and also that affects their spiritual life. They're so disconnected spiritually because they're not growing. They're not spending time with the prayer, the Bible, and everything else. So they're disconnected from God in a way or another. So when they disconnect from these things, from this, they're able to connect with God, their spirituality, their friends, their family, and the more relevant things in life.
We know some of y'all sit on your phone during liturgy.
Oh, it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna say, and the deacons in the front.
And that tells you how deep the addiction is.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody can even hold themselves for 2 hours, the liturgy really is 2 hours from the phone. Imagine when they're home or in school or after school, what do they do? What do they do with the phone?
I was just at the movies last night, and while we're watching the movie, mid-movie, someone's like scrolling through Instagram on their phone.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
I think the reason is sometimes people like, it's an escape. Like if you're not paying attention to liturgy, then what else are you doing? You like kind of like immerse yourself in something else that's like actually interesting to them at least.
I think escape is actually like, you know, kind of whitewashing it. I think it's more like a habit. And some people, if you watch their behavior, even older people, sometimes they sit, and as soon as they sit, they open their phone and they go through the motions. They're not even paying attention to what they're doing. They're not enjoying anything. It's just they go through the motions, and they go through one app, they close it, they move to the next. It's a very, very conditioned behavior. Conditioned behavior means it's stuff they just do. They don't think about it. And that's when you do it enough every day, it becomes what you do. You don't think about it. So this is something that has to be addressed. It's something that we have to fix and take seriously, because it's going to keep disconnecting us from what we're supposed to be doing in life.
So what do you think like causes us to be so attracted to our phones?
I think it's a process. I think, of course, you know, you guys growing up, you grew up with the phones basically.
Yeah.
So it became a habit, something that you sort of tied to. You cannot live without it. That's why people that go to the monastery and they put their phone away for a week, they say we actually lived for a week. We have like fullness of life for a week. Like we're able to connect with the praises, enjoy, meditate, pray, have some peaceful time, reflect on ourselves. You're deprived of all this because of this habit. But it becomes something that you do, meaning you grow up doing it. So you just keep doing it. No boundaries, no time limits. So you come from school, you sit on the phone, and 4 hours later, you realize that, oh, it's been 4 hours. And then the next day comes, it's 5 hours, and the next day comes, it's 6 hours. There's no boundaries. There's no self-accountability and how much time you're spending on the phone. So the habit gets out of control. Something like liturgy, it should be a good practice for us that during liturgy, you put the phone away. So we get to see how life feels without the phone for those few hours. And this will be good for us. It's going to build us up that we can do more of that. Even at home, put your phone in charger and leave it for a couple of hours. See what you can do at home. You can talk to your parents. You can talk to your siblings. You can work out. You can like watch something with the family. You can read. There's so much that you can do that you're deprived of because of the habit.
I actually remember a story. Like I think it was me and Samuel, like someone else. It was, I think, last spring break. we went to the monastery together and turned off our phones, and it was truly a great time. Like we learned
I
a
believe
lot.
it. I believe it.
Whenever like you truly like immerse yourself in something other than your phone and not like this like fake world, you truly like, as you said, you live.
Yeah.
But what I'm kind of getting from what you're saying is that it's like habit. It's like built up from when you were young. So how do you think like parents play into this, or like the whole screen time thing, and like when you're young?
So absolutely, I think parents must enforce a screen time. Must. It's a responsibility on them. Kids don't like it. Kids fuss about it, and it's okay. Every good thing in life, there's some fussing related to it in the beginning, but then eventually people appreciate it. So I think that's a responsibility on the parents. But you guys are now in high school, and some of us are in middle school. So you have to learn that this is very important, that you have to work with your parents, you have to work with yourself, and setting time aside for the phone, and setting time aside to be phone free, social media free. All like you're not dealing with any electronics whatsoever. So that way you get to see how life can be without any of those tools. You know, how it feels like to stand up and pray without the phone, and just spend 10, 15 minutes focused on prayer only. Read the Bible from a paper, hard copy, and enjoy that without having to think about your phone, and every 2 seconds you're, eliminating a notification or closing a notification or being distracted by something, or you're in a hurry to answer a message. Like life really has a lot of meaning when you don't have those things interrupting it.
So you'd say like not just the phone, get away from it. I've seen a lot of people, they'll say they get away from social media for Lent, and then they'll go sit on like the Xbox for like 7 hours a day.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same
We
thing.
all know that person.
You're replacing one habit with another. It's just you're fulfilling that void with something that's not meaningful. I'm not saying there's something wrong with the Xbox, but the amount of time you spend on it is a problem.
But I feel like the people that do that, it's because they feel they don't see the other side. Yeah, we disconnect, but like, what do we connect to?
Exactly. So, and that's really important. So with your servants and fathers of confession and your family, there's so much that you connect to. So first of all, you can connect to your prayer life. You have a canon that in the morning you pray certain prayers, put the phone away and pray those prayers. In the evening, you have a reading, you have the Bible reading, you have a prayer. So you connect to God that way. You read a story of a saint that, from the Synaxarium daily. Some people do that. That's stuff that we did when we were in 8th grade and 9th grade. That's stuff that's not hard. I mean, we did it. And you're connecting to the real life, like working out, exercising, getting outside the house and doing outdoor activities, participating in theater or choir or hymns classes, or having a discussion with your friends about like a Bible lesson or about a topic that's relevant. All these things become meaningful when we do them. But as long as we don't try, we never really get to enjoy what it feels like for 4 people to sit together without phone and have a real meaningful conversation that's edifying, that's building us up, that's not bringing us down.
That's your point on prayer. I feel like most of us are very like lazy to wake up in the morning and go pray. And like if we do it, it's not, I feel like not us. I feel like we're like forced to do it. So it's not like actually like benefiting for us to pray every morning and every night.
I think a couple of things. First of all, it's also habit building.
Yeah.
But good habit building. So St. John Chrysostom, and I do this in the military too, when you do something for about 4 to 6 weeks, it becomes a habit, a second nature. So if you make your bed, which I know I'm asking you for the impossible, if you make your bed every morning for 4 weeks in a row, 6 weeks, if you really want to make it a habit, it's going to be a lifelong habit. You're never going to stop making up your bed when you wake up in the morning. So if you get in the habit of getting up and the first thing you do is pray, believe it or not, it might be hard for the first week or 2.
Yeah.
But by week 4, week 5, week 6, it's a habit. You cannot even do it. When you don't do it, you feel like something is lacking. I missed out on something. Same with the evening. When you get in the habit of having a set time for prayer and reading the Bible, it becomes a habit. So it's a habit building, but in a good way. But you have to also push yourself in the beginning. Even if you feel like, I'm pushing myself to do it, it's okay in the beginning. Every good thing requires a little bit of a push. Like when you work out, when you haven't worked out for months, what happens? You need to push yourself.
Yeah.
You have some aches, you have some muscle pain here and there, but what happens after a while, it's good for you. You feel like, okay, I benefited from pushing myself. You're going to feel the same way spiritually. When you push yourself in those directions, you're going to reap the benefit.
Do you think it's worth still praying if you don't like see the meaning of it? Like sometimes you can stand up for those first 3 weeks, as you're saying, and be like, well, yeah, I do it, but I don't have any meaning for it. Like, should we still do it just to build the habit?
A couple of things. So first of all, when we pray out of conviction, not emotions. So for example, I'm going to give you an example. So let's say your dad asks you, hey, Samuel, do you love me? And you just came from a football game. You're exhausted. Your arms are aching and, you were tackled. Every bone hurts. Okay. And then at that moment, what do you feel? Do you feel love for your dad? No, you feel the pain in all over your body, right? Yeah. But what do you say to your dad? Of course I do. Even though you don't feel anything at the moment. So our relationship with God is that way. Deep inside our heart, our conviction, our hearts, we know that we love him. He's our God and our Savior. Yes, sometimes we might not have the emotion, but like after a football game, how you feel, but you're convicted that you love your dad. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't feel what I'm feeling during prayer, I'm convicted I love my Lord and Savior. So you have to have that conviction. So in the Orthodox Church, we'll pray out of conviction, out of principle. Once a while, God gives us a feeling and satisfaction and lifts us up. That happens. But that's not going to happen every time you stand to pray. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, when you start to pray about meaningful things. So let's say you are having your ACT test today and you got up in the morning to pray. So if you start praying for the peace of the world and the peace treaty between this nation and that nation, that's not a meaningful, it's good. I'm not saying it's good. But is that really relevant to you that day when you woke up? What's relevant? You're rather your ACT. And in that, you might see God. So pray for the relevant. Of course, always pray for your salvation and for you to be with Christ. But after that, pray for relevant things. Pray for what's on your mind. Pray for things worrying you. Pray for your ACT. Pray for your college. Pray for whatever it is in your heart. You're going to find God is connecting with you through those small things. He's speaking to you in your own language. So that's going to also motivate you to pray more because you need God's help in those matters. So first, it's a discipline. So you have to get up and do it. Two, just pray about relevant things and you're going to be able to connect with God in those matters.
But I feel like back to like the phones.
Sure.
I feel like it's still like beneficial to have phones for various reasons. Like, let's say I'm studying or something. I still need to use my phone or like my computer or something to.
Absolutely. Nobody ever said that having the phone is the issue.
Just the addiction?
I think the amount of time we spend on the phone is the issue. Pull your screen time. I'm not going to ask you to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But pull your screen time and check it out. You're going to be shocked. I spend that much time on the phone, that much time on text messages, that much time on Instagram, that much time on this and that. So you'll be shocked of your own behavior. That means you're not aware of it, right? So that's the issue. So let's say you do all your work, say I'm going to be on the phone for an hour, between 6 and 7 every day. Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
Of course not. As long as, of course, you're watching what you're at and all that, of course, the basics. But the problem is that we lose track. Before we go to sleep, we have the phone. When we wake up, the first thing we grab is the phone. After school, we're on the phone. And the time adds up that we have 5-6 hours on the phone. So 5-6 hours out of 24 hours, and you sleep about 8 hours. And then you go to school for another 8 hours. So what's left in the day?
You don't have a life.
That's it. Your life is gone. You're killing your life. Life is time, right?
Yeah.
If you kill 5-6 hours every day of your life, then how are you going to get that back? And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You guys are not living your youth because you're spending so much time on a machine that it's just stealing that time away.
So back to connecting with people. Some people say that their phones are the way that they connect with people and communicate with people. And sometimes it's gotten so bad that they don't know how to really talk to people.
Yeah.
So how can we help them fix
it? It
that?
affects social status and stuff like that.
So that's a very good question. So people got accustomed to sending an emoji and they don't know how to express the emoji. But do you guys see how dangerous this is? Do you see how bad this is? I can send a crying emoji because it's how I feel, but I can't get it out. I can't do it. Or I'm sending a smiling emoji, but I'm not smiling. It's just so connecting via social media had its own benefits, especially if there's a distance between people that cannot see each other often. But when it's overdone like that, it defeats the purpose. It becomes like somebody I see every day in school. I'm communicating with them on social media. Why? Why on earth? So communicating with people and developing those social skills are good for us. Good for us on the personal level, on the social level, in the church, and also our careers. So you have to understand that you have to learn how to deal with people. You have to learn how to express your emotions and develop real social skills. And social media takes it away from you.
I think for a lot of what we're saying, it's good in idea, but in practice, it's really hard. So in order to motivate someone like sitting at home to actually do this, they have to see the value in it for themselves. Like, let's say I'm sitting on the other side of this and like I'm addicted to my phone and 5-6 hours, but I believe that is my life. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So how do you really see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're like so blinded with what, like, where you are?
So the other thing is enjoying what you're doing. If you ask so many people about how do they feel after being on social media for a period of time, what do they say?
They felt nothing.
Almost always nothing, and that void nothingness, and also they feel down. They feel down. They feel not good about themselves. They see everybody's laughing and smiling and giggling, and they're the only miserable person in the universe sitting in their own room and looking at the social media posts. So it takes a minute to be aware of that and see, what is this doing to me? It's stealing that away from me. It's doing this to my life. It's actually not helping me. It's putting me down. 2, I think you guys have to have alternatives. Without an alternative, it's impossible to make that connection. So if you don't set times where you guys get together and play a game, or you don't get together and do something meaningful, the person's not going to be motivated to really get out of their house and drive or meet people. So when you start setting things, putting some motions, planning things, it's going to be a lot easier to drop the phone and go to the park and play the game, or get together, or get over somebody's house and watch something together, talk about something, or play a game over there. So setting those things, actually going about planning them, it creates the alternative that helps you get rid of the habit. But as long as there's no alternatives, then that's it. There's nothing else that can be done.
Do you have any ideas of like home remedy ideas to like get rid of the phone, like lock the phone in a box? You know, those extreme measures people take?
I think screen lock, like
Screen
the screen time locks are one of the best tools.
Yeah.
Especially if you say 10 p.m. is the cutoff, just for example, is the cutoff time, or 2 hours is the max. I can use the phone throughout all day. It helps you build a habit. Even if you want to still use the phone and you got the screen time lock, you're reminded, hey, I exceeded my time on the phone today, so I need to do better tomorrow. You know, so it's one of the best tools. 2, have an accountability partner, meaning a friend that you trust, that's mature, of course, or your sibling or your parent. Ask him to hold you accountable. Ask me how much time I spend on the phone. If you see me on the phone, for that, remind me. These are the people who are really motivated to make a change. But if the motivation is not there to make a change, if it's not internal, nothing is going to change.
So how can the church kind of help us with staying away from our phones and connecting with like other people and stuff?
I think get in the habit of leaving your phone in the car or in your pocket during the services. I think that's a huge step. I think us talking about it in the church, like in the Sunday school classrooms or in the youth meetings, helps bring the ideas to light. And I think also participating in the church activities, like we talked about, like the different tournaments we have, the theater, the choir, the hymns classes, the deacon classes, all the stuff that we do, or like an activity like this, the podcast, it eliminates that dependence on the phone. You have other things to do. And the church, we're lucky to be in a Coptic Orthodox church because we have so much that we can do in the church. And like Tasbih on Saturday nights, Vespers and venerations, the whole coming week, we're doing venerations for St. Mary every single evening. So think about that. Like those things will keep you busy and engaged and not dependent on your phone.
I think one last thing, I don't think we can talk about social media without talking about the negative content we can have. Something like either fake news or things related to lust, like body image or self-image. A lot of that comes from social media. So how do you think we should, yes, limit time, but also limit that media or the things we're actually seeing during those like 2 hours a day?
Of course, you have to be very selective. And I think we talked about this in one of the episodes on social media. I think you have to understand that you're seeing fragments and segments of people's lives.
Yeah.
You're not seeing their full life. Just like you're down at times and happy at times, every single human is like that. You know, so you have to understand that whatever you're seeing is very selected pieces. It's very biased depiction, it's very biased picture of the person. So you cannot let that drag you down. At the same time, don't pay too much attention to the people that you're seeing or read too much into their posts or what they're doing. But I think if you get in the habit of using social media for good things like information, just keeping in touch, not getting too much into the people updates and all that, those things you can actually benefit from social media, you know. But I think the more you're paying too much attention to people around you and the posts they say and you read every word and every comment, you're wasting your life. You're wasting your life.
And sometimes your self-confidence plays into like how you feel when you
Absolutely.
see these,
Absolutely.
like posts and everything.
And if you learn how to shun some of these things, like you see a lot of posts, yeah, I see it, and you just move past it. You don't look too much on it, or you don't read the comments on after it, or you're not really engaged with it. When you do this a few times, you get the ability to disconnect from those things that kind of affect your confidence and affect the way you look at yourself and your self-esteem. So you have to learn how to disengage. Even if you're on social media, you're disengaged from the things you're seeing. You're not so full-heartedly into them. You're not reading every word and feeling it and getting into it and looking at every heart and every... So make sure that you have one of the servants, or even talk to your father of confession or one of the friends you trust to help you like disengage from that, because this will help also you not feel so bad about yourself, not be so down after, so you're more inclined to be the word apathetic, like I don't want to do anything, right? So that also comes into disconnection. When I'm disconnected through social media, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to go to tasbaha. I don't want to attend Sunday school. I don't want to go to youth meeting. I don't want to go to liturgy. But when you have the energy, you're able and willing and eager to go and participate, because you're disconnecting from all that. I don't want to see any of that. I want to. So all these things play into it, and we can talk more about this in another episode or Q&A.
On that note, thank you so much, Abuna, for joining us, and thank you everyone for listening. Please make sure to check us out on all social medias with the name Teen Talk, and we hope to see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, guys.